Welcome to Thursday Live, everyone. I'm Steve Leahy. How are y'all doing? How's your week going? Hopefully really good. A little bit of show and tell, and then I thought we'd just continue on with the whole neon thing that we started on Monday. I had a close-up kind of thing view on Monday, and I thought we'd do a little bit farther away view today, so that'll be a little bit more... it'll be kind of the same idea, but just a different application for that realistic neon. All right, so I got a little bit of show and tell, and we can get right to it. So let's get right to it. First off, let me make sure I'm actually here, because you never really know. Yeah, you never really know. All right. I don't know what's going on here. Here we go. Sorry about that. Just trying to figure out where we're at here. Yep. I don't know why it takes so long. The delay is crazy. James McLean. Hey, Dan, what's up? There we go. Ooh. Oh, I know what's going on there. Doing the volume and the volume. No. Technical difficulties. There we go. I'm all caught up. All right. Let me do this. Show and tell real quick. So if you were here a few weeks ago on Facebook, I did the skull painting, the Four Horsemen painting. I think, and then I did a time lapse of this painting on the horn cover, which is right here on YouTube too. So originally I had the painting up for sale on my website, unframed, but then I took it down because I wanted to frame it, and so now it's back up again. And it's on aluminum. It's a 3.5 by 5 inch panel. And then this frame is actually a solid hardwood frame that was actually meant for the Harley painting. So I spruced it up, repurposed it, got some carbon fiber. This is genuine carbon fiber behind it. It's open, there's no glass in this. And so this is back on my site. So the reason why I'm showing this to you guys, originally I had it up unframed for a steel price. I put it back up on the site at the new price, but it's what I did was I discounted it for you guys, and then I'm going to mention it on Facebook as well on Monday if it lasts that long. And then after I give everyone on the live streams a chance at it, I'm going to put it back at its regular price. So you can actually save about 25% on this one. I know this is usually the international feed. It will ship internationally. Just be aware that the shipping on framed paintings is pretty ugly. Generally, it's anywhere from about $30 to $50, depending on where you are in the world, compared to us here in Ohio. But it will ship. So what it'll do is the website will just default to the highest shipping, which is probably around $60. And then what I end up doing is I end up refunding you the balance, so you only pay for what the real shipping is. And if you're in the US, this will ship for free. So there you go. And it's all ready to go. It's all ready to be hung up on the wall and good to go. So that's our only show and tell. Kelly, what's up? Roberto, all my internationalese. I've been working on the 543s for Monday. There's a bunch of really good ones. I'm super happy about them. And that's what I got. So I can't show you those. And Bob needs a horn cover. Yeah, we can do that. Just let me know. I still got to order more of those. Like I said, I only had one of those. But I'm thinking about just grabbing a few more. I kind of don't want to get into doing them. I'd rather concentrate more on the big paintings, but they're also fun to do, so it's kind of a catch-22 for me. All right. And, it's funny with those, because I can put the level of detail in a horn cover. There's plenty of room on that, and you guys know how small I generally work. So I can put everything into that. The problem usually arises that there aren't too many people out there that want to spend $1,000 on their horn cover. You know what I mean? So, and I don't really want to do $100 horn covers. I'd rather focus on the big paintings and that kind of thing. So it's kind of a catch-22 for me. But they are fun for me to do, and I do like to bang them out. So I'll always have them, but I just don't know if it'll be a regular thing. So I don't know why that all came up. Cody Adams, what's up, buddy? Let's make Cody are... Actually, Kelly was in first. Let's make Kelly the boss for today. So Kelly, I don't know what being the moderator does for you, but your name is now in blue and you got a little wrench, so you can do fun things, I guess. Okay. Moving right along. Let's get to this. So just like last week, I would show you Monday's neon painting that we did live, but actually that was picked up by someone and I ended up shipping it out. So I can't show you that one, but we're going to do something similar today. But the other one was like as if you were like really close to the neon. So today is going to be more of a farther away type of look. And it's the technique that I'll use for that is similar, but also a little bit different. And it's nice if you need to put neon into like a bigger painting, but it's not the main thing. The power, the power. So thank you all, everyone else who was along for the ride on Wednesday last night. I would show you the Mustang painting because it's actually done. I finished filming all the episodes yesterday, and so we'll have 2 more of those before the framing episode, but those are almost done. I am going to need some help on picking a new open studio. I'm kind of thinking it's going to be a cityscape, because I haven't done one of those in Open Studio, and those, I mean, that's going to be another long haul one. It'll take me a while, and but they're also cool because, like I said, I've never shown the process for that type of painting, and that is, like I said, that's a super long haul painting. That's 40, 50 hours, so that's going to be another one that would take a really long time. But I have to try to decide, what it's going to be. The only problem with doing the cityscape one is once you see the process, it's pretty mindless. Meaning, I mean, it isn't mindless. You have to know, I have to really stay on it. But it's just the same process repeated over and over again throughout all the buildings, and it's just a time sink kind of thing. And I'm not sure that people are going to want to hang out and watch that. So I got to kind of decide. But I only have 3 weeks to figure it out before it's time to move on to the next one. So, all right. If you missed it Monday, this is Autoborn Sealer Black on this Yupo paper. It's just regular Yupo paper like the 543s. But I spray it with Autoborn Sealer Black, and then I just sanded it with 1000 grit sandpaper and hit it with a really used Scotch-Brite pad to give me this really, really smooth finish. I'll put some tape on this. I have no idea what we're going to do on this. Brandon, what's up, buddy? Thank you all for jumping in today, too. All right, tape this up because why not? Can't get that on my finger. There we go. So this is our international... Thursday is kind of our international feed. So I know Mr. McKay is up in Canada getting ready for the class at Maple Airbrush, which is pretty exciting for him. He has to endure hanging out with that Rod Fuchs character, which is unfortunate, but hopefully he'll make it through. And what else is going on? Chris, what's up, man? All right, excellent. So there we go. So that'll make this roughly 3x4, or make it 3x4. This depending on how this little painting comes out. Like I said, I don't really know what I'm going to be doing on this yet. Depending on how it comes out, I'll put this one up on the site too. If it looks more like a demo, then I won't, because it's makes more sense to just kind of leave it as is. I'll get the tape off. I finally smartened up. I had this real cheapo knife handle, aluminum knife handle, and it's just sitting around doing nothing. I'm like, well, dumbass, why don't you just use it? Because before I would just take just a blade itself to do this part, so I don't ruin a sharp blade, because all I'm doing is trim and tape. But I'm like, I'm going to whack myself with the blade. And I'm going to have no one to blame but myself. So I finally put that on a handle. All right, that goes up here for now. So let's figure out what we're going to do here. JC, what's up, man? This process is pretty straight ahead. So this isn't going to take very long to do. It's actually easier than the close-up because there's less detail. But the idea is to still have it look believable. So there are things that go on with neon that, you know, the trap that I usually find myself in is that I want to make it all, because it's light, you know, it's a tube of light, and you want to make it glowing, you want this glow on it. But neon, if you look at it, it doesn't often have that. It's just the tube itself that's lit up. It's not like glowing like a lightsaber, like in Star Wars. So that's the biggest trap for me, you know. So what are we going to do for neon? Let's do, I don't know, I'll do my logo, because I'll use my signature. We did a little bit of that on Monday. I had my signature kind of lit up, but we'll do the whole thing. So, all right. So let me, I need a piece of paper here. What am I doing here? Grab some paper. So what do you guys think of the new Time-Lapse Tuesday thing? You like that? I'm going to definitely keep doing you know, the tech videos, but I think Time-Lapse Tuesday is just going to be Time-Lapse now, which I think will be good. All right, so my logo was done by my amazing graphic designer, awesome in the face sister Katie. And what's funny about my logo, the little SL that you guys have, like all the members have the SL logo there. So that logo was originally my sister's logo. Her name is Katie, obviously, because I just said it. But the logo itself was her logo, but the S was another like angle. You know what I mean? So it's how mine is the little S and then the little L. Hers was just the angle of the K and then the L. But she ended up changing it because she was moving on to a different logo. And she gave it to me, so it's been mine ever since. And that was back in like I don't know, I've been using this for forever, really. All right, so there's that and that. So what I'm doing is I'm going to cut out a stencil so we can put the blue, because with the way my signature usually is, or the logo, it's the design you guys see in my little, you know, in all your members' icons, and then I sign it on top of it. So we'll do a little bit of both. This will be blue, and then we'll do some orange neon for the letters. Oh, good. Okay, good, Kelly. I'm glad. Yeah, and then eventually what's going to happen is with the time lapses, I'll take bits of them and I'll be able to make reels and stuff out of them. And what's nice is you get to see like the whole painting all, you know, entirely through the process. Last week's was the Raven, and I did a little bit of talking in the beginning, but that's also going to go away too. It's really just going to be the time-lapse video, which will be fun. All right, let me finish this up here. So I got to give this a little bit of weight. The other nice thing about the logo that Katie designed was that it makes a good stencil. So I have usually, well, what I was doing before, do I have it? Yeah, I do. It's right here. Usually what I do is, I don't know if I have any paint in these brushes, probably not. Here's my this template is, oh God, this template's got to be like 1990, maybe. I specifically cut this out of a piece of watercolor paper for a painting that I was working on. It was a portrait of this little girl. So a lot of these shapes go with what I was using, you know, like her nose and stuff. But I liked the template and I ended up keeping it. And in it is the little SL logo right in the middle. So for the longest time on bigger paintings, what I would do is I would spray through this. Do I have paint in a brush? I will in a second. So the way I usually do this is on a painting. And you'll notice this on older paintings. I don't do it as much anymore. Because before all the paintings were big. Let me switch to the close-up camera, it might be better. And this will be good because I'll show you kind of what we're going to be doing today. Let's find a spot here. So what I would normally do with a bigger painting is I take the logo, spray a little bit in here. There we go. Just like a gray fade from the top to the bottom, not too crazy. And then what I would do is I would take like a marker or pen or something, and then I would sign the painting. I would sign it on top of that. Like that. And that's how it was. And then I date it, you know, underneath or whatever. Now usually I just sign it and date it, but we'll do a little bit of everything. All right, so I got that. I'll jump back to this camera for now because it's easier. So yeah, so I've been using this template. I mean, the big thing with these freehand templates is if you take care of them, like I said, this is watercolor paper, you know, and I've had this for, you know, almost 30 years. So if you take care of them, they hold up forever, you know. So as I toss it in with the others. All right, so let's do this. So we'll have the blue SL in the back, and then I'll do a little bit of a neon signature on this. Hey Astral, what's going on? So it's an absolutely beautiful day here in Northeast Ohio. We've had a couple really good ones in a row, which is nice because we've had a super like crazy rainy spring, which is normally not bad, but it was to the point of, you know, getting like dangerous. Like there was nowhere else for water to go. We're enjoying the sun right now. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting out essentially the blue of the background. And normally when I have this printed, the SL is in that orange color, and then the background is in the blue. But we're not going to do the orange today. We're just going to do the blue. Send it here. I know, Kelly. Yeah, really. Trust me. You know, if I could, I would. It's been, and you know, it's funny. All of a sudden, it's gone from like wet and cold, like borderline snow, to just beautiful. So like 80 degrees. So, you know, I don't know. It's strange. The flowers started coming up early, and then they got whacked by the cold, and now we're back to like 80 degrees. So it's like summertime. On the feet on Monday, I did everything in, I did a lot of it with adhesive mask. We're going to use no adhesive mask on this one, just as a kind of a variation, so you can see how to do it both ways. Simon, what's happening? Simon, I already said hello. Kelly's got the wrench too. I don't know how to do that. Oh, I know what to do. Simon's got the wrench. Let's de-wrench Simon. Not that he didn't deserve it or anything, but Kelly has the power. So let's put this on here, like just kind of in an angle. I like angles. Angles are good. So put a bunch of magnets on this again, Yupo. What I need to do, I just heard from Patty Chadwick that Legion, the company that makes this Yupo paper, just announced that they have a aluminum clad Yupo. So they have Yupo on aluminum panel, which is pretty exciting. What I need to do though at some point is I need to do a regular, just full-blown painting on a piece of Yupo. I usually do it on aluminum and ampersand, but I think it'll be fun to mess with Yupo. Yes, Kelly's in charge. Kelly's got the wrench, so I don't know what that means, but you know, something could happen. We just don't know what. All right, so we're going to I should have probably put this where it needs to be first, but I didn't. That's okay. So we're going to put some, let's get this up here so we can switch to this camera so you can actually see what's going on. All right, so we'll spray this with a little bit of blue first. Well, before we do that, we'll spray with a little bit of white, because if I use the opaque blue, it's just going to take too much paint to cover the black. The opaque line is opaque, but you know, if you spray it, it's going to be transparent out of the gate. I'm ordering Sunshine. That's awesome. Do it. You won't regret it. I have a window right in front of me above the the Visionaire thing, and there's not a cloud in the sky. It should be outside right now. All right. So a little bit of white first. And this will just give the blue something to stand on. So I want to keep the pressure kind of high because I don't want any individual like droplets. You know, like if I was looking to cover this, like make this opaque white, I would probably use a little bit thicker version of this paint, closer to like what it really is. And what happens is when you do that, though, you get a heavier, like a coarser atomization out of the brush, which is fine because all you're doing is you're looking to cover it anyway. You want those little droplets to connect and then become opaque. But with this, I just want to kind of take the curse off the black. So when I spray the blue, it'll pop a little bit quicker. So for that, I really want those droplets to be almost invisible. Franz, what's up? Yes, I know you guys. Yeah, we're swapping. So I feel all, jealous in the fall when you guys are just rolling into spring and summer. But now you guys get it back. Thomas Thompson, sunshine brings out the mushrooms. It certainly does. We get dandelions first, and then we get mushrooms. All right, believe it or not, that's enough blue. Now the other thing too, you notice the S and the L are like kind of up, which means there's definitely going to be white paint underneath. It's not going to be perfectly sharp. But for this, don't forget, I'm kind of going for that glowy kind of, lit up type of thing. Maybe like a sign type of thing. So I'm okay with that. If I really wanted it sharp, I would have to do it with an adhesive mask. I mean, I could get small magnets, all on the S and L, but it just, for this shape, it would be easier to just cut it out of a mask, like Frisket or something. All right, so let's do the blue. What do I want to use? I'll save the white in this brush. I'll use this brush. Blue, I think I'm going to use Daylight. This blue. Normally, the SL is a much darker blue. But I want this to kind of show up a little bit. So, yeah, mushrooms would. Kelly, I agree with that. There are 2 weeks that are coming up this summer that we're going to be running around back to Massachusetts and Wisconsin and all that fun stuff. So I try to get some 543s done beforehand so that, it's not, those weeks aren't as crazy. And I also don't have to work on, when I'm away. So I've actually picked a bunch of 543s already. I have 10 in the bank right now. I haven't done them yet, but I've picked them. So I went through this year's suggestions and grabbed additional ones. So if you're on Monday night and you've made suggestions and I haven't chosen them, there is now a chance that I did choose it because I went back through all the suggestions. So if I'm lucky, I'm going to get 15 done. And have 15 in the bank. That way I will guarantee that I don't have to paint when I'm, actually out on vacation when I should be just vacationing. All right, so this is Daylight Blue straight up. Well, no, there's reducer in this, but the color is the blue straight up. Same thing, and again, I'm not holding that SL down, especially now, because if white paint got underneath and now I decide to hold all the letters down, the SL, then it's going to have a white halo underneath, and I don't want that. I'd rather the blue get under there too. Yeah, you know what? For all the 543s I've done, I don't think I've ever done mushrooms. Okay, that's lovely. Now what we'll do is darken that up a little bit. Again, the idea is to just to make sure that this thing stands up, that it's that you can see it. If I were to put even the opaque, this opaque phthalo blue from Createx, if I just put this right on the black, it would take a lot to get it to show up, basically to get to show up. So this way it just saves, you know, having a ton of paint on there. So now what I can do with this blue is I can just kind of tone this thing down to whatever I want. Now I want this fairly dark because I want those letters to really show on top. Because my signature is a part that's going to be lit up, not this. This I just want kind of in the background. All right, let's see what we got here. Yeah, that's lovely. That works. It's a little low, but oh well. Do I want to clean anything up? Kind of do. Do I? No, screw it. This is, again, you're seeing live 543 action right now. What I was just looking at was where like it kind of fogged like on the letters and stuff. On a painting like a big time painting, I would immediately, if this, you know, like I would start by cleaning up this and add, you know, spraying a little bit of black in there to, you know, just like I said, just going crazy. But I'm not going to do that because it's not that kind of painting, right? All right, so now my signature part of it. So there are a bunch of ways that I could do this. I could draw it on a, you know, piece of acetate and then cut it out. I could cut it, you know, do the same thing. I could put it on a, you know, like write it on Frisket, cut that out. I could write it on a piece of copy paper, cut that out, but I'm just going to kind of freehand it. I think that would be fun. And it'll be a nice way to do it too, a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is first I got to get my signature in there. So it's going to be a little bit bigger. So we'll start here. Now the thing I got to remember is this part is going to be neon. So there's going to be parts of this that I'm not going to be able to, like neon can only do certain things, can only bend certain ways. So I'm going to have to adjust as I go. Like that. Can you see that? So all it is just a really light pencil sketch on there. There we go. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, I still have blue in this. No, I'm using orange for this, right? Yeah, the letters, my signature is going to be in orange. So first thing I got to do is I got to put the little glow from the letters on the background. So what I'm going to do with that is I'll use the white for that, and then we'll use a little bit of orange. So what's nice is I have my signature now here. So that's what I'll use as the actual neon, but I got to go kind of below that, and maybe, let's see, compositionally wise, I'm going to go below and to the right a little bit because we're kind of skewed that way. So what I'm going to do with the white is I'm just going to kind of go underneath this and add that glow from the bulb. Now this is where the only glow is, and this is where it kind of like I was always get thrown off on neon before, because what I would end up doing is I would make it glow like a like I said, like a lightsaber, which means the tube is actually hazy and glowing. But when you do that, it makes it look like it's not like a tube filled with light anymore. It looks like I said, it looks like a lightsaber. It looks like it is the source of light. Again, just down and to the right a little bit for this. And I don't have to worry about overdoing this. I'll show you why in a second. Okay. Billy Bones, what's up? All right. Now what I'll do is I'll grab a little bit of clean this out of this brush. I'm getting the blue out of the other brush now. So you can do all of this with just one brush. It's a little bit easier when you have a couple brushes because you can leave colors in there. Like the white is still in that other brush, which is great. But you can certainly jump between, colors with one brush. I had done that for many, many years. So don't feel like you got to go out and buy a whole bunch of brushes. It does make life easier, and it's like any tool. If you really get into working with it, you're going to own more than one anyway. All right, so now I got to kind of tint this towards orange because this is my my glow from the light. So for that, I'm not going to use the orange. I'm going to use, as soon as I can find it, I'm going to use red oxide. So same thing, brush. We'll just go with one big fat drop of that and a little bit of reducer and 40/50, which makes it more transparent. There we go. I mentioned this. I broke my mixing brush. This is an old acrylic brush that I really loved for mixing paint with, but I snapped the handle in half. Which is kind of sad. It still works. I think I can't remember where I mentioned it, Monday or on one of the feeds or whatever, but the paintbrush holder, the only bummer is the paintbrush holder that this is normally in is made for paintbrushes with really long handles. So when I drop this in the paintbrush holder, it falls down in and I can't get it. So I have to leave this on the bench now. 15 airbrushes, sold one yesterday, culling the herd. Astral, I understand. I have never sold one of my brushes. And I don't mean that as judgment because, people sell them all the time and then get new ones, and that's awesome. When you said that, Astral, I thought about it for a second, and it just hit me that for all the brushes I've had, I've given some away, but I don't think I've ever sold one. That's interesting. 15, that's great. All right, so again, when I was talking about the, actually, is this going to be orange enough? Yeah, it will be. When I was talking about the white, like it's difficult to overdo the white. You can because of the blue here, but if this was just on like black, say you were just doing neon letters on black, you could really go nuts with that white. I am going to have to bump this up a little bit. You go nuts with the white because you can always just kind of tone it down with the black if you have to. So it's actually better if you have a little bit extra white than not enough white, because if you go and don't have enough white and then you have to redo the white, it's kind of a drag. All right, that's good. It's not orangey enough for me. I upgrade them. Oh, Astral. See, I get that. One of the only brands I don't have is anything from H&S, or as you guys say it, H&S. And man, they're making that tough not to pull the trigger on something from them with Rob at Dread Effects doing all the stuff with them, and David Naylor doing all his stuff, and now over here Dave Goldfarb is got all the upgraded parts for the H&S, and that yeah, I've got all the new models, Squidmar model and all that. Some good stuff. Yeah, Kelly, I wouldn't go there, Kelly. The brushes, I don't think it's a matter of talent. I think it's a matter of need. Like if you really need something super fine detail, the Microns are so forgiving and so like tough and workhorse like. Yeah, they are expensive and they're expensive to maintain, but they perform really, really well. It's like having a car with a really great clutch in it. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, maybe a supercar, but you can drive this car. You know what I mean? That's what the Microns are like. So if you're thinking about it and you have the means, I would definitely not wait till you feel like you're, good enough or anything. I mean, that's just, yeah, I just go for it. All right, so I just put a little bit of straight orange in here. There's orange right there. Because the red oxide was a little bit, wasn't as bright as I wanted. Wasn't as orange as I wanted. So I'm just going to kind of go over the areas on the black with this. All right, that's good. Just a little bit. Yeah, I mean, and you can't, like I said, if it isn't even the cost of the Micron, or I'll throw this out there with the H&S too, because I know some of their models are on the expensive side. And, like the Badger, the more expensive Badgers, or any of them really. If they're made well, they're going to last forever. I still have my first Micron, which is, again, I got it just at like 91 or 92. So they just last and last. You can't really go wrong with them. All right, so for the letters now. For the letters, I'm going to hand paint those in. I was going to cut out a template for it again, but we're just going to hand paint it. Roberto. Jeez. You tell me what you want. I'll order it, and then we'll go. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take... So I have well, so I suppose I could turn it on. Hold on. Give that a second to warm up here. There we go. There we go. So I could pull this out of the palette, but the way I'm going to paint this, I'm going to need a good amount of paint. So I'm just going to grab one of these little mixing cups, and I'm going to just put the opaque white right in the mixing cup. And... now you guys have seen me use these Winsor & Newton brushes all the time. This is, size 00. Well, I have a whole set of these, and some of them were gifted to me, like this one right here. So this one is a beauty. This is a Winsor & Newton Series 7 watercolor brush. This is a number 4, but it's got the old engraved label on it. I don't even know how old this brush is. This was gifted to me, but this is a number 4. These brushes are beyond beautiful. They're all red sable. They're amazing. They're not cheap. This brush here is about $50 US right now. But again, it's just like the Micron. If you take care of this brush and you're a watercolorist, this will last for a really, 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 really long time. They're super nice. So this is nice because it'll give me a great point if I need it, but it'll also give me the fatness of the brush as I kind of move it around. Yeah. So this is one of the Winsor & Newton brushes. So again, but I need some paint with this, so I'm going to use it right out of the cup. What'd I miss with JC? Hello, Toby. What's going on? Asked, do you need another Micron so you have plenty of Microns to choose from? Yeah, I mean, if I had, like I have a few of them. Like I got to rework some of them. Now I've got a lot of paint on this brush. Because what I need is that the opacity of it, and I also need the thickness of the line without having to screw around with it. So, because this is going to be the bright part of my neon. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of like looking at, I'm just using my signature here, which is in the pencil line. And I got to keep a bunch of paint in this. Maybe not that much paint. But it has to be enough that it flows off the brush. And I gotta make sure I don't have any little, divots. You almost can only do it in one shot. You know what I mean? If you start going over it, you'll end up putting streaks in it, and that's not good. What was I saying? I don't know what I was saying. Is the B or C best to go with? I think you mentioned previously. So Kelly, I think it depends on what you're going to be using it for. If this is going to be your number one solo, like super detailed brush, and that's all you're going to use it for, then go with the B, this one here. This is what this brush is built for. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. This brush is built for just doing detail. Can you do other stuff with it? Yeah, but it's really meant for just doing detail. The nozzle and needle in it is super small. The cup is really small. There's no cover on it. It's, like I said, it's built for detail. If you want like extreme detail, but you also want to use it for other things, you know, you want a little bit more versatility, then go with the C. The C, again, will do crazy, crazy detail. It's got a 0.23 millimeter needle in it, but it's got a bigger cup. It comes with a cover. It's just a little bit more versatile as far as what it can do. So that's the rub. I use both of them all the time. This one, again, I usually put white in this one, and any heavier colors go in this one. And then again, the B finds its place with all the massive detail, and that's how I do it. So if you, like I said, if you're going to buy one, just decide what you really want it for. You have a ton of brushes, so there's an argument for just having it, you know, the B just for the extreme detail, because you have a bunch of other brushes that cover the range. But again, if you had 3 or 4 brushes, and like say one of them is a, you know, like, I don't know, like you have like an HPC, or, you know, a bigger 0.3 millimeter brush, and you need something that's a little bit more refined than that, but you don't want to get crazy and get super fine detail, then yeah. All right, so what I'm going to do, just to save a little bit of time, I may not do all the letters here, because what you have to have happen is this has to dry, which is going to take a little bit of time. So I'll just do a few of the other letters while I'm waiting for that to dry, and then we'll just do the S. CMC, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can do a lot with the C. So what I have to do here is I have to think about, you know, what neon would be able to do. And then I'm not going to care. I'm going to do it anyway. So if I wanted actually my signature in neon, I'd have to make some concessions because again, you can only bend this tube in a certain way. After that, it becomes, you know, goofy. So I'm going to ignore that and just do whatever the hell I want. Why? Because I can. I just had a thought that my head was in the way, which it probably was, but all right. Yeah, that S is still drying. So I'll just keep going, and then hopefully by the end of it, the S will be dry, and we'll finish it up. The other thing you notice how, like, as I'm putting this brilliant white in as the base, you can't really see the halo underneath it anymore. So I may end up, while I'm waiting for things to dry, I may end up just bumping the reflection up a little bit. Yeah, with either of the microns or all of the microns, if you're looking at the Takumi, the side feed, Createx out of the gate needs to be reduced with this stuff for the most part. Depending on, again, it depends on what you're doing with it. If you're going for coverage, then yeah, you could run the Wicked right through a micron, but it's not pretty. You know, it's like it's gonna wanna spit, and just like it won't atomize very cleanly, especially out of a brush like the B. But again, it's not meant for it. It's like, yeah, my Ferrari doesn't carry mulch very well. You know what I mean? If my head was in the way, you would all get a mail pen. Nice, Astro. All right, where are we at here? The M. I should have my glove on because I'm getting grease all over this. not grease, but you know, finger oil, finger oil. So each one of these, where it ends, if it was real neon, it would take a turn in and then be a little black. It'd be basically like black paint, black tape around the end of the tube to block it off. Same thing between words. But like I said, we're just going to do this kind of, you know, kind of neon, I guess. DNA art. I know, yeah, a little bit of finger grease on there, which is bad when I go to put the clear on it. All right. That S is still drying because there's a lot of paint on here, so I'll just keep going till that S is dry. And that's why I don't go over it again, because I just pulled up half the paint. It's all right though. I'll just leave the last name part of it, and I'll go over it again later. Yeah, I'll just go over the last name later. But that works for now. All right, how's that S doing? Almost there, almost there. We're gonna do orange for this. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll do orange neon for the letters. Hey Tim, what's going on, buddy? Tim, sorry I missed you again. I was asleep by 8:30. I hate to admit that. But I was out. I was gone. I finished up the feed, like the premiere here. I went up, I talked to Marge. I went into bed, and you know, usually I just fire up the phone and get ready for, you know, the other feeds, and I was out. I was gone. But like I said before, the nice thing about YouTube is the way that they organize the videos. It's really, really well. So I end up rewatching anything I missed. It's usually easy to find. I don't know, Tim. It's overrated. So I have the brush with the white again. So again, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of reclaim that orange. It just wasn't bright enough underneath. And it's okay, because now I can see it a little bit better. So this is the thing about neon. Again, the glow, if you look at like neon, the glow we think we see isn't the actual letters glowing, unless the lens is greasy from the camera that's being used to take the photograph. The glow we see is really the reflection of that neon on the backing behind it, which is kind of fun. Again, the rest of my signature here isn't very dry, so I want to be careful over here because I don't want to, you know, get to the point where I start airbrushing and then there's a big wet thing of paint on there and I end up pushing it around, which is definitely possible. So the fun part about the neon is the bottom part is it's almost like a drop shadow of light, which is great. There we go. We'll leave that for now as I get the other stuff going. Astral, that's awesome. I wish I heard that when my kids were younger. That's okay. I have my first grandson on the way, so I'll use it on him. All right, so I'm taking the white out of the brush because I'm going to be using yellow next. And yellow can be a cranky color to spray. So this is a perfect example why I'd grab the Micron C over, excuse me, I got the burps, over the Micron B, because the B will spray the yellow, but I'd have to really reduce it out, and I don't want to have to get into that. All right, so I'm going to use a little bit of golden yellow for this because I know what's going to happen. If I use straight up yellow, it's going to kind of turn green, and I don't want that. So we're just going to use the golden yellow because it has a little bit of orange in it, which helps to combat that green shift. Tim just got on. Tim, I wanted to show you this. This is one of the, I have a bunch of these. This is a older Winsor & Newton watercolor brush before they switched to the screen printing. This is like the, whatever they call that. It's like engraved or pushed in, you know what I mean? So this is an older one. This is number 4, which is beautiful. So if you ever get a chance, you guys, and you want, you know, a really, really good, soft brush. Those brushes are amazing. Again, they're not cheap, but they're worth it. Bobby, what's up, buddy? All right, golden yellow. So the golden yellow I'm going to use on the letters, and also just by default, it's going to get on some of the spray, you know, the glow underneath. But I really want to kind of keep it as much to the neon as I can, especially as I travel over the blue. If I get this on the blue, you know, you guys remember your, you know, first grade color theory. If you mix yellow and blue together, you're going to get green. So I want to try to avoid getting a ton of this yellow on the blue. I don't mind getting it on the, you know, the spray underneath on the black, but I want to really try to avoid that on the blue. This S, the S and the T are dry now, so I'm just gonna do these here instead of doing the whole thing. And well, yeah, we'll see how long it takes. It shouldn't take that long. Oh, but I can't do my last name because I gotta go over that again. So we'll do the first name, and that'll be good, I think. Again, now I'm in pretty tight, so I just don't want to get a ton of yellow on the blue. Some of it's going to happen, but you know, again, I don't want a lot of it on there because it'll turn green, and that's not really what we're looking for. The nice thing about neon is it's a gas, and even though it pretty evenly fills the tube, you do get some variations. So when you're doing this, you don't have to be super clean. In fact, whenever you look at, like, especially look at neon, like if you do a search for neon and you find the fake neon signs, you know, they're LED lights that are perfectly even all the way across, and they just look fake, you know. So if you're doing neon, it's nice to have that variation, so you don't have to really make sure that, you know, everything's absolutely perfectly smooth, you know. Yeah, Thomas, I know I shouldn't use it, but then you can't not use brush. There is a brush. All right, so I'll show you a brush I won't use. Hold on, because it's worth it. I love good brush stuff. Okay. There are brushes that I will not use. I'm gonna have to switch cameras here. So I have a like a art bin, a wooden antique art bin that I inherited from my uncle Mick, who's the watercolorist who influenced me quite a bit. So that's one of his vinyl decals. His name is Albert Michael Leahy. So this is his signature made into a vinyl sticker that I still have. But anyway, I inherited some of his things. This is the drawer out of this thing, and this case is awesome. Picture a large wooden case, and you have these really thin drawers that, you know, slide in, and then there's a bar that goes down in front of it, so you can actually travel with it. It's got a handle on the top. So I've got a bunch of his brushes here. So these are the brushes that I won't ever use. And I'll switch over here to this because you got to see this. So here is one of his Winsor & Newton brushes. Now I learned to paint from him. So this is one of his. This is a number 5 and it still has his paint on it. So yeah, so this one I won't ever use. But even this one too, this has clearly been used a lot. You can tell by the bristles, and he was a very active painter, and all he did was watercolor. But even with this one, if I can pretty much point this. 1 second, there we go. I can pretty much point this to you know, just be able to rock. And this also has that kind of, you can't see it, but it's also pushed in, the engraved pushed in handle. So that's one I won't ever use. He was the last one to use that, which is pretty cool. Where's the other one? Oh, and I rarely get rid of brushes. So this here, these are like all retired Winsor & Newton brushes. Like whenever I'm done with a, you know, like a 00, it'll just kind of go in here. This is another one that I won't use too. This one was also one of his. And look at this thing. All the enamel is blown off of it. This has to be like a 6 or 7. So this is probably like well, new, it's probably like an $80 or $90 brush. So that is fun. And then this one here, this one I inherited. And this one I'm just clearly too scared to use. This is a number 8 wash brush, but it's a series 7 as well. So this bristle here is just huge. So this is what you do if you want to like put in like a, you know, like a really soft sky and want to have it really blended. This like I'm doing this and you can almost, I mean, it's so soft you can't even feel the bristles. It's that soft. This brush is a beauty. So again, like I would never put acrylic in this brush here because it just, I would be afraid I wouldn't get all the acrylic out. This, if I ever got back into watercolor, I would probably use it again, you know, if I was doing watercolor. But yeah, this isn't a, you know, this is a newer brush. This has got the screen printed thing on it. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that's really cool in here. No, those are definitely the coolest. Everything else is, like I said. Hold on. It's so funny. Like I said, I inherited a couple brushes from my uncle. But whoever gets my junk when I kick off, these are like all like retired brushes. I mean, you could still use them, but like they, you know, they have their issues, like, you know, they're curled at the end, that kind of thing. So anyway, what was I doing before all that? We were painting stuff. Yeah, I should take up stock in Winsor & Newton. All right, I think we're good actually with this one for now. This is the 4 I had before. So we're gonna just jump to the smaller one. This is the one I usually use, the 00. So we're gonna get the outline in on this now. So what I need for this, even though these are gonna be orange letters when they're done, I'm gonna use Pyro Red because the way that the kind of thing rolls over, it makes it look very red. You'll see what I mean in the end. It'll make sense in the end. And again, depending on how much time you guys want to hang out. Squirrel. I'm sorry. It's so great that you have so many artists in your family. I'm an anomaly in my family. Yeah, Tim, you know what? It's the only reason I was able to do what I'm doing and be able to stick with it. And I know your mom, Tim, was instrumental in keeping you going. So that was true with my family too. You know, when I'm sure I'm sure everyone's heard it, that, you know, if you want to actually make a living as an artist and be an artist, the most common thing, you know, you hear automatically is that's great. What's going to be your real job? You know what I mean? But when you come from a bunch of people who have, professional artists in the family, it was a much easier thing to sell. You know what I mean? It was a much easier way to be, because people were actually doing it. It didn't completely alleviate the people who didn't believe that it was a viable way to live, and a viable way to express yourself, and that it was more than a hobby kind of thing. Because a lot of people choose to be an artist because they want to be an artist, but some people have no other choice, and I fall into that category. Like, I need to do this. This isn't like a career choice. I mean, it is, but this choice was made for me in a lot of ways, and it's a it can be a blessing and a curse. When you and I'm sure it happens with everything. With all types of directions in people's lives. They just, this is what they got to do. You know what I mean? So I don't know, how did the hell did we get on this sideways rant? But anyway, this is red. Red's our friend, and what I'm doing is I'm just going on the outline of the yellow. Again, I'm once you see a little bit of this, it's not really worth doing the entire thing, because it's just, you guys are hanging out watching me do the same thing over and over again. But once I get it, like the S done, I will jump into the next part here. All right, so neon, yay, over and under. So again, it's a tube, and you can't connect, they can't, like this connection here where my letters are all kind of connecting together. You can't have neon, I don't think, that, has like a T joint in it. I don't think that's a thing. It might be, it's just I've never seen it. And so what we got to do here is we have to decide what's on top and what's on the bottom. So for me, the way I sign it is usually in the indication of how this is going to go. So I'll always sign the S first, obviously, and then move to the T. So we're going to assume the T is on top of everything. So let me get the rest of the S in here, and then we'll figure the rest out. Yeah, Pioneer is the one that takes the most lumps, 100%. Now the nice thing about this is, say I screw the red up, like it's like that middle part right there is not really great. If that happens, what do I got in there? Copy? What the hell is in here? Sorry, I'm distracted. Yeah, it's a copy. All right. If something happens, that's a pretty easy fix. So let me jump back to this. See what's going on. So to fix this, I just reverse the process. I'll grab a little bit of white, palette that off, and then what I can do is I can just kind of run over the part that's screwed up. And again, this is it. It's going to depend, on how much you really want to work on this. You know what I mean? If it's a huge painting, it's a real like full blast crazy painting, then you'll do all of this. If it's just like the 543 idea where you're just trying to get it done fast, or if it's very gestural, you're not going to worry about a lot of this. So I've got yellow and a little bit of orange in here, and I just go over that white, and it essentially just erases, whatever the problem was with the red. Should probably get you guys closer, huh? That would make more sense. Give me 2 seconds, switch you over, because you don't want to go on this ride. There we go. That's more lovely. Okay. All right, so the way I sign this thing, I don't even know how I sign my own name. Okay. I had to think about that for a second. So I'm gonna do this as I was signing it. I think that's probably the way to go. There's a bunch of ways I guess you could do it. So I would come down and then do the loop for the T. Oh, did I screw that up already? Probably. Should I have gone the other way? I don't know. Again, this is so weird. Like, I'll just sign and not think about things. Now I got to think about actually what I'm doing. Oh yeah, it goes around this. I'm a dumbass. Oh well. Well, now I get to fix it. All right, so we'll just do the, we'll get the T part done, and then we'll move on to the next steps here. Instead of, spending 70 hours fixing this thing. So it's this to this, right. So this should have started turning here. I will fix this part though. Then it goes around like that. Then it goes around like that. And like that. Okay, that's better. Yeah, because you at least got to get this part right. That's better. And then this part pops up from there. That's what it is. Okay. And then that's like that. Okay. I will fix this mess in here, though, before I go on. So, again, you get to see the repair here. Oh, I gotta do up there too before I do that. That's better. All right, since I get the red in the brush and this is now dry a little bit, I'm just gonna run around this thing, and if there's any spots that like weren't really that great, because this is, even though this is opaque Pyrrole red, it still doesn't like to paintbrush very well. It's not meant for it. It's meant for airbrushing. It's very opaque when you airbrush with it. It goes on really nicely and smooth, but again, it wasn't designed for paintbrush work. So it can be real streaky. It can be, kind of cranky sometimes, but again, all that's forgiven because it's not made for that. You know what I mean? Good. Okay, I'm going to do the repairs on this a little bit just because they really need to be. Because if I go and do the next steps, then it becomes much more difficult to repair all this after. So I'm going to start by fixing the error right there. Again, start with white. I could put a little bit of yellow on this to kind of get the ball rolling in the right direction, but in the end, it won't really matter. You know what I mean? It's just it's not like it'd be, totally different and totally better if I add a little bit of yellow to this. It would help a little bit, but again, it's not a big deal. Make sure you can't see any of the red coming through there. That's lovely. Now, golden yellow is what I use. So I'm going to grab some of that. Put that out on here. It should be dry now. Should be. Yep, good. If it wasn't, this would turn into a lovely pale yellow. But it looks good. Lovely. Okay, good. So now just picture the red continue on all over the place and on all the other letters, but like I said, we're not going to do that now because we don't want to. Just gonna, this one over here came out a little bit too thin, meaning thin like I could see this paint strokes in it, so I want to clean that up a little bit. Same thing with this one. Maybe this one too. Smooth that out a little bit. Good. Okay. So again, these are supposed to be orange in the end, and that's what we're going to shoot for. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the B, the micron. Again, this is, we were talking about the brush for the job. What I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to get an orange fade from that red into the yellow. Now that's not a very big area. It's my pinky finger. So I'm going to need to have a lot of control for this. In fact, what I may do, I'm going to use red. Because red's going to have a, it's going to do the job a little bit faster, and it'll still give me the orange that I'm looking for. So I'm clean, I blacken this brush, and get that out, and I'm going to put a little bit of thyroid? This is not called thyroid red. It's not, it's pyrrole, not thyroid. So a little bit of red, and then I've been using this mix a lot, the 1 to 5. It's 1 part 40-50 to 5 parts reducer, and it's been working out really well. It's just, you know, just got enough 40-50 in it to help smooth things out, but the reducer does a great job at really thinning that out so that the paint works the way it should. I might have added too much, but I can always add a little bit more paint to it. Okay, see if this is enough. So again, the B is great for this. Any super fine detail brush is what you want to use for something like this. I'm trying to think if you had a bulkier brush. I don't know that. You know, I mean, you need a lot of control with a bigger brush, like a 0.5 millimeter brush to pull something like this off. I was just trying to think if there was a way, but I don't think there really. I mean, it'd be a tough job for a bigger brush to do. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if this is too thin, and it is, because I had a feeling. So I'm just going to simply add another drop of paint to this, and then that'll thicken this up. I did get more of this, but I'm down to the dregs of this bottle. So like I refuse to let it go until every last bit of it is gone, because I'm a cheap bastard like that. Sepia from Tim. That's awesome. All right, let's try this. So what I'm going for, again, is a fade from the red to the yellow, which is really just kind of going over that red line and letting the overspray do the work. Let's see what we got here. Yar. I think that's going to be good. So the nice thing about this part here is, I got to be real careful not to just flood the whole. I don't want to lose the yellow in the middle, so I don't want to flood the whole thing. But on the back side, on the outside of this, like on the, you know, like on the where the glow is, I actually want that to be orange. So as I'm spraying this in, if I get, you know, paint on the yellow that's this like secondary glow, that's actually just what I want. So, you know, on the back side of this, I don't have to be super careful. It's the front side, the yellow side, the glowing side that I really want to be careful not to just flood over and get rid of. And then what I can do is I can even kind of like put a little bit of red spray on this secondary glow here to make that more orangey. And after that, there's really only like one other step. So again, if something goes sideways here, if I were to accidentally hit this a little bit too heavy and, you know, I lose that yellow in the middle, it's really easy to just kind of go back in and like I just did there, like on that loop, I kind of hit it too hard. So what I would do is I would just take the white again. I'll show you. Well, do I have orange? I do. Do I have yellow? I do. Okay. Yeah. So for an instance like that, let's grab a little bit of white. This time I will add a little bit of golden yellow because I have it out on the palette. Because this actually, what I'm about to do here is part of the last step anyway. So what I can do is I can just reclaim that yellow that I lost. So the nice thing about it is there's not, you know, there's not this like, oh my God, I have to get it right on the first shot. If I don't, I'll ruin it and I'll have to throw it out. It's really not like that, which is nice. Now the hard part is once you get the red started, that red fade, it makes it a lot harder to do this correction because you got to really make sure that that pale yellow or the white that you put on here is you have to add enough layers that it starts to build its opacity back. Where when it's just a yellow and you're just like cleaning it up, then it's easy to cover the yellow. But the red makes it a little more challenging. Yeah, Tim, if you have a link for those who are not aware of your store, please drop that in here. And then, unfortunately, I haven't figured out, Tim, maybe you can help me with it. Um, I don't know how to set it so that the comments from the live remain. Like you can still read the comments. I don't even know if that's a possibility. I like Facebook for that because Facebook always leaves the live comments that you can read them after. But I think it's a setting in YouTube, or maybe it isn't even possible. I don't know. You know, the comments just seem to be the comments that are left after the fact, which are fine, but it'd be nice to be able to see the comments from the live stream, permanent like. Oh, of course, Tim. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I tell a story all the time about how I found Tim. It was during COVID. Yeah, everyone was online. I just and I don't know. I just happened to run across his live feeds, and I'm like, I'm sitting at home, and I'm like, all my paint is at the studio, and most of my brushes are at the studio, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, this ink, I can use this in the house. I can use this right here. It was great. So I ordered up a set, and that's where all the 543s came from. But yeah, whenever I think of that time, it's weird. It's both happy and also weird because it was right in the heart of COVID, and I don't have to tell everyone. It was a crazy time. All right, so I've got the yellow, the golden yellow, and the white again. So again, like for here, I'm going to start to reclaim some of that brightness, but this is really also the last step. And what's nice about the neon lights is the glass in the neon will reflect the lights around it. So that's what this is really. It's just that bright highlight of the glass itself. So you don't do this everywhere. You just kind of pick a few spots to kind of pop out, and that's what does it. Yeah, so back to the whole other thing. Yeah, so I have both happy and weird memories of that time in my life. It was like I remember, everything was at home. I would go out to get food and whatever, and that was it. There we go. Chris, yeah, the inks are a blast. They're a lot of fun to use. All right, down here I think I need a little bit more. Now, if that yellow that I mixed isn't enough, which sometimes it isn't, you can use white, but you got to be really super careful on this scale. This is a great idea to like this I did on the heart from Monday night at the end. There are places where you can actually put like a specific like white highlight on the glass, but on this scale it's so tiny that you want to be real careful with it because you don't want to get like too big because it'll get gimmicky. So I'll just use it in like some of the yellow areas that maybe need a little bit of push. And that's it. That's your neon. Pretty fun, right? And again, now the whole idea was that this is on a smaller scale. What am I doing here? It goes this way. You guys focused? Do you think you focused? I'm going to back this out a minute so you can see the whole thing. But again, this is how I would handle this on a smaller scale. So there isn't as much detail. But the thing of it is again, it's not that like if you go back and look at any of the lightsaber paintings that I've done for the 543s, that's actually the energy, like the blade itself is like the light, it's glowing. But this is the gas inside, and it doesn't have its like you want to spray the whole outside of that, make it look like it's glowing, but as soon as you do that, it won't look like neon anymore. So the other thing I would do if I was really like insane, which, what the hell, grab some of the darker red here. And then you can start like doing like the clips that hold the neon in. Put those in a few spots, where they would be. But that's just ridiculous. All right, let me switch back here and I can, oh, thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Tim. So switch back here so you can get the kind of feel. So yeah, so it's a lot of fun. You get that kind of neon feel. And what's nice is that the colors that I used for the orange, just kind of think of, analogous colors on the color wheel, and you can do any neon color you want. So if you're doing like green, I would still start with yellow as the base. So I do the same thing, but instead of using the oranges and the yellows or the reds, I would use greens and blues, outline it in blue and then fade in the green, you know what I mean? And the same thing with whatever, purple, if you want purple neon or whatever color. Just pick those colors that are attached to that main color on the color wheel, and that's your palette for it. The brightest color is going to be the one you want to go with. Now, if you're not sure about the first color, because that can be kind of tricky, just pick like a pastel version of whatever color you want the neon to be. For instance, if you wanted purple neon, make a pastel purple, really light purple, and that's going to be your main color. But here's the fun part. You can have a lot of fun with changing that up. Like if you want purple neon, but you use like a pink for the inside, it's going to give it a whole different feel. If you use a really pale blue instead of the purple, again, it's going to give that neon a totally different feel. So you can have a lot of fun with it. There are really no rules. Again, if you use yellow and you end up going, that's the only instance where you'd end up running into trouble. If you use complementary colors, colors opposite on the color wheel, when you go to do that fade, it's going to turn into a muddy gray. So you don't want that. You want those colors to be sticking next to one another on the color wheel when you go to airbrush them, and you'll be fine. So hopefully that's a little bit of fun for you. I'm glad you're showing paintbrush. I feel a lot of artists think they have to use an airbrush alone. Toby, God, I'm going to switch over. Oh, I never had the mic on. Hopefully that was loud enough. When I went to go get the brushes, I never put the mic back on, but hopefully you heard it. This one. Yeah, I am both a huge fan and both a huge like antiponent, not a proponent, but a diponent to that kind of thing. So my basic idea is if you want to put limitations on what you do to make yourself better, because that's a great way to do it, like limiting your palette. If you want to understand color, you limit your palette down to like 3 colors and you mix everything. You know what I mean? If you want to limit yourself as like the size that I do, like that's a challenge, right? But that alone doesn't make the art better to me. It gives me more respect, or it gives me a certain aspect of respect for the process, but it doesn't make one piece better than another to me. It just that's more process driven. It's the same thing with airbrush and paintbrush. If you want to challenge yourself and do everything with the airbrush, there are going to be things that are going to be really, really difficult for you to do, like super tight details and hard edges and things like that. You can come really close with an airbrush, especially, the super fine detail brushes, but it's still going to be really hard. In the end, does that make it a better painting? No, it just makes it, to me, it makes it just more interesting as far as the process goes. So take all that with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm a huge fan of challenging yourself like that, but don't let it, put the handcuffs on you as far as, this is definitely, this is definitely a better piece of art because it was done in a certain way. It's just not, to me. It's just not. And, anyone who says that, I let them go. Let them do their thing. That's fine. If you take pride in that, that's great. That's awesome. But if you go ahead and say your stuff is better than someone else's because of that, then I'm going to jump on you. So that's what we got. So there's your Thursday. That's your Thursday feed. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll probably end up finishing this, but I won't put it on the website. No one wants my signature. However, the skull painting is on, and I hope someone grabs it. But again, this is the, can't see it because of the glare, but that is the Four Horsemen painting all done up. And again, this is genuine carbon fiber. I ordered a couple sheets. This frame, you get the hilarity of owning the frame that should have been for the Harley painting, the ones that were custom ordered that all came in the wrong size. So I love that I repurposed it for this, and it actually looks really, really good in this frame. So I'm super happy. So this is on the website. It is discounted until, I'll probably give it till next Wednesday because I want to let the Monday night Facebook people know. We'll do that, and then after that it goes back up to its regular price. So if you're interested in this little guy, now is the time for that. So there we go. That's what I got. So have a great weekend. Enjoy it. Be good. Take care of people. Do something nice for someone. And I will catch you guys all on the next time. Thanks a lot.